It's 5 o'clock. I'm going to go, please bear with me. We're going to go call to order and roll call just to make sure we have a quorum tonight. We have Ward 1. Here. Ward 2.
Here.
Ward 3.
Here.
Ward 4. Here. Mayor is absent. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. It's going to be held by Councilmember Rangel. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to go to citizens to be heard. I do have 2 speaker cards. One has asked to speak at the actual agenda. I also have one that would like to speak on agenda number 3. Would you like to wait until then, Mr. Roan?
How long of a wait would?
It's only agenda item number 3, so only a couple minutes. It should be.
Sure, that's fine. I just have.
Sure. Okay, so we'll go to ceremonial matters and proclamations. Tenure Tuesday, Vanessa.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, you know, I love doing these every other week. We have a handful this week. We have 3 that couldn't be here, so I'll run through those right quick, and then I'll call the guys that are here up. Robert Ramos has been with us for 10 years in various forms across the city. He's worked in a couple departments. Jessica Yarberry, she has also been with us for 10 years, and she's in the police department. Thought she might show up. And then we have Jan Broom, who's been with us in Public Works for 10 years. So we appreciate all of their service. And now for the people that are here. James Garrity. He's actually James Garrity II, but he's worked with us in Public Works for 5 years. Come on up. Thank you. Let's open it so we can give her a good picture. Let's do like that. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Ed. He's actually Ed Devine III. He has been with us in Parks and Rec for 5 years. Oh, let's open yours too. Sorry. Thank you. And then we have Mitch Tomlin. He's been with us in Parks and Rec for 5 years as well. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We're going to go to agenda item number 2. Before we do the presentation, as he spoke, he might have to leave. Gary Roan, would you like to come speak? So it's going to be pertain to that.
And I have 3 minutes, and I like to talk a lot. Is there a shot clock up there? Somebody can give me a half a minute warning or something?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Okay, hit the button. Good evening. My name is Gary Roan. I've been a part-time resident of Rockport for nearly 20 years. Own a couple properties here. Pay what I think are very excessive real estate taxes. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to speak with you folks tonight. When I first came here, it seems real estate taxes were fairly reasonable. And now it seems like they're way out of control. And I might also mention that for roughly 10 years, I've been the president of the Homeowners Association at Laguna Reef here in Rockport. And so I've had a few encounters, you know, over the years with the city, and for the most part, they've been very favorable. So let me start by talking about what I think is excessive, unnecessary spending on behalf of the city. I'm going to cite some examples. I'm not going to personally attack any of you people. I don't know any of you folks personally, but I might ruffle your feathers a little bit. But anyway, so let's start back a couple of years ago. The city couldn't afford to maintain the hours of the city pool. And called for cutting back on the hours. Now let's just fast forward a couple years later. Some just horrible blunders. You bought a compressed natural gas bus from New Jersey or somewhere, they're still laughing at you over that deal. As I understand, the fuel cell went out of it, but in the meantime, you spent $750,000 on a compressed natural gas station. It's crazy. Some of the other small things that I see going on are, I handed out a paper. Did you get this photograph? There's city gardeners that work on their hands and knees to pick weeds. Not on my tax dollar. And then I pull up to City Hall and it looks to me like you're employing a service here to cut your lawn. I go in the parks and you got big zero turns in good condition all over, and I think of able staff that knows how to mow the lawn. It doesn't make any sense to me, folks. I don't know who makes those decisions. It's not the decision I would make. When I also visit the parks, I see diesel-powered UTVs. I'm gonna tell you something, whoever pays for those or buys those is stupid. They're not the most economical. I can tell you that by personal experience. Then on to some larger expenditures. We're standing on one right now. This is built against public wish, and it doesn't even, in my opinion, from what I understand, fit the needs of the community in its totality. You also bought this bent oak property down here behind Spanky's Liquor, which I'm familiar with, and at a great price. Am I out of time already?
Yes, the time is up, looks like, so I apologize.
Okay.
There was supposed to be a little buzzer and it did not go off, I apologize.
Okay, when I looked up, I thought it was on, okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you for coming.
I would like to speak with you, Stephanie, if I could sometime and cover some of these other issues that we had a chance to tonight. Thank you.
That'd be great, thank you. So we'll go to agenda item number 2, presentation by Sara Henderson of Armstrong, Vaughn Associates of City of Rockport's 2025 audit report.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Just wanted to introduce Sara again. This is the second year for her to be presenting. Last year she had to do it remote. This year we have the pleasure of her being here on site. Sara has been with Armstrong. She is the audit manager there. This year she had over 119 deliverables, or requested over 119 deliverables, of which the accounting department was able to fulfill for this audit. So it was very, very thorough. And so again, we're always welcome and glad to have a thorough audit. And so we got a good opinion and happy to present Sara Henderson.
Thank you all for having me this evening. As Robbie mentioned, I had the pleasure of working on the 2025 audit. Before I forget to mention them, I did want to give a big shout out to Robbie Lorenzo and the rest of the Rockport team for all their hard work on the audit this year as well. Like you said, 119 or so deliverables, that's a lot for them to provide to us to complete the audit. So it was a lot of hard work on their part as well. Before the meeting, you all should have received a copy of the ACFR, which is the big packet, along with the audit highlights page, which is that one pager with the green highlights, and the communication letter to those charged with governance. To be cognizant of y'all's time, this evening I'm mainly going to focus on that audit highlights page and also touch on a new standard that was adopted this year. So as Robbie mentioned, we issued a clean, unmodified opinion for 2025. That's the best audit opinion the city can get. It means that the financial statements are presented fairly and comply with applicable accounting standards. We also didn't identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies to bring to your attention, so that's great as well. And as of October 1st, 2024, the city implemented GASB Statement 101 for compensated absences. So previously, the liability for compensated absences only included leave that was expected to be paid out upon termination. With this new standard, GASB also wants you to include any leave that is more likely than not to be taken as time off. So historically, Rockport was including pretty much all of the vacation balances that were more likely than not to be taken as time off. But this did increase the liability because we added the sick leave for the portion that's more likely than not to be taken as time off. So the city estimated that approximately 60% of the sick leave balance as of the end of the year was likely to be taken as time off, which increased the liability on both the proprietary fund and government-wide financial statements at the end of the day. And this did not result in a restatement, even though it was a retroactive adoption. Rather, it led to an increase in about $87,000 that was recorded in the 2025 proprietary fund expenses, overstating them by the same amount. Now, when we say that, we say it's immaterial to the financial statements as a whole. So it's really only communicated as a past adjustment in that governance letter. So that's the only place you'll see that past adjustment mentioned. I'm going to pause here for any questions about the standard or the opinion before I dive into the numbers.
Any questions, council?
Okay. Thank you. Moving right along, in the general fund, there are a couple things I wanted to highlight. Revenues increased by about $550,000 from the previous year, primarily due to an increase in property tax revenue and sales and mixed beverage tax revenue. Expenses decreased slightly from the previous year by less than about 3%, and ended up well under budget as well. The fund also had about $3.6 million of net transfers. Now that was mainly related to the sale and closure of that gas utility. And the transfers, if you wanted to see more detail on those, that's in note 5 of that ACFR that y'all have, the big packet. So at the end of the day, you were able to add about $5.4 million to the general fund balance. And you ended 2025 with a general fund balance of just under $10 million. That's the amount of money you're able to roll into 2026. Most people like to compare that to the number of months of the budget it would cover. And for y'all, that's about 11.6 months. We're estimating. So you can also see that the trend has been adding to that number. That's that months in general fund balance line of that audit highlights page. So it went from 4.6, 2023 to 5.2, and now up to 11.6. So it's going in the right direction there. And 11 months is definitely a healthy operational cushion for y'all. In the water sewer fund, revenues decreased by about 3.6% from the previous year, and expenses increased by about 1.7%. It added about $3.5 million to its net position, and a lot of that is tied up in long-term assets and debt. However, it still does have about $10.8 million in working capital available to it, which is a significant operational cushion as well. And down below that, you can see some information about trends in fund balances of other funds, your pension funding ratio, and the question everybody's been asking, what was the increase in the general fund balance from the sale of the gas system at the end of the day? So I want to point out a few things on that. The $6.8 million in general capital improvement is mainly expected to be used on wastewater treatment plant improvements. There were also a couple of funds that went to nothing that you'll see in the 2025 column, a zero when there was a balance last year that I wanted to highlight. That was the natural gas fund balance that went to $0 after the gas system sale, which resulted in an increase in the general fund balance of about $4.2 million. And that's at the bottom of that audit highlights page. The second fund I wanted to point out that closed during the year was just the General Vehicle Replacement Fund. It was just closed out to the general fund for simplicity, to not have an extra column for that fund. So with that, I want to thank y'all again so much for your time and allowing us to serve as your auditors again for 2025. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
Issued a clean, unmodified audit for us, correct?
Yes, that's
As
correct.
good as we can get. Any recommendations for improvements in any way, shape, or form?
We communicated a couple of items verbally, but they were very minor, nothing that we felt rose to the attention of the council.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I also just want to say this is for an audit. I appreciate all your hard work. We are going to budget season, so a lot of these things, we'll go into more detail and discuss further when we have our budget meetings and workshops for the next year. So thank you again. So we're gonna go to the consent agenda. The following items may be acted, sorry, I backed up, you're right. Number 3, consider the approval of resolution 2026-12R, accepting the 2025 annual comprehensive financial report as presented by Armstrong, Vaughn Associates.
Yes, requesting motion to accept the audit as presented, please.
I move to approve the resolution 2026-12R, accepting the 2025 annual comprehensive financial report as presented by Armstrong, Vaughn Associates.
I will second. I have a motion on the table. Ward 1? Aye. Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4? Motion we accept the financial report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we go to the consent agenda. The following items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on any of these items will be held unless pulled at the request of a member of the city council. Would anyone like to pull any of these agenda items?
No, ma'am.
Then I would like to
I'll
entertain
make
a
a
motion.
motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4, aye. Consent agenda is passed. Agenda item number 8, consider the request by the Texas Department of Transportation to lower the speed limit on South Business 35 between 9th Street and the city limits at Freeze Lane from 60 miles per hour to 55 miles per hour. There are going to be multiple things that we have to do here. First, we're going to hold a public hearing to receive comments for or against the request. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on this?
What is their rationale? It's just TxDOT requesting this?
Chief, would you like to respond?
It is a request by TxDOT, yes, and I'll.
Okay, so my name's Alan Lee Copeland, resident of Rockport. So TxDOT has made a request.
Yes.
Okay, is there any rationale behind it or?
Yeah, I'm gonna explain it here shortly, so.
Good enough.
Anyone, okay. I'm gonna close the public hearing. It is now 5:19. We're gonna go on to the presentation from staff. Chief Anderson?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. We were approached by TxDOT back in November of 2025. They ran a speed study on South Business 35 between 9th Street and the city limits, which is at Freeze Lane. Their speed study showed that the majority of vehicles were traveling at the speed limit of 60 miles an hour, the posted speed limit of 60 miles an hour. However, they are requesting that we lower it to 55 miles an hour due to, and I'll explain what they wrote, reducing the speed limit based on the following factors: crashes and driveway density in commercial and residential areas, including possible future development. That's their rationale for doing it. I can tell you from the police department standpoint, we have had traffic fatalities on South Business 35. We have many crashes out there as well. If you're ever driving out towards Aransas Pass or coming from Aransas Pass, there's vehicles that are passing on that two-way roadway regularly. And it's something that we're gonna have to stay on top of as well to keep an eye on that. But in my opinion, it is a dangerous roadway out there. And Staff does recommend that we do lower it to 55 miles an hour. However, it is up to council to make the change on the recommendation from TxDOT.
Okay, thank you. We had tabled this, in the last city council, so we do have to take two different motions. We need one to take it off of the table, and then we'll go into the consider the approval of the first two readings.
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion to remove from the table.
I will need a second.
I'll second.
I'll second.
So we'll go Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4. Motion to take it off table is now in motion. Now we will go into consider the approval of the first of two readings of Ordinance 2009, amending the City of Rockport Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 3, Speed, Section 98-61, Appendix T-25, providing for the validity of said ordinance, repealing all prior ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing for effective date. Welcome again, Chief.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
So I see that the, request is for the area between 9th and Freeze.
Correct.
What's the data within that area? Because I'm familiar with many crashes being there at the Corpus Christi intersection, 188 intersection. I know that area going into Paradise Key is difficult, but what is the exact data that was achieved from this study that supports the reduce in just that limitation of space versus further down into the 188 area?
So,
Is that consideration too?
so
beyond
past
that?
Freeze Lane is county, between Freeze Lane 188, that's all county. We don't have any control over that.
Correct.
But they didn't provide us with the actual speed study. They only provided us which is what you have in your packet, in the memo that they provided. That's the information that they gave us.
So the study details, does that extend beyond that entire space and we're just getting the
No.
ordinance request for within our city limits or?
The speed study was done in the city limits between Freeze Lane and 9th Street. Not past that.
But they didn't give you specifics of that study?
They didn't give me the specific speed study, no. But they did say that the vehicles were traveling at the posted speed limit of 60 miles an hour.
Did they give you any details regarding excessive speed frequency?
They did not, no.
No, I just wish it would be a little bit further out.
Any other questions?
Not really necessarily a question, it's a discussion. I don't think we have any, our ordinance can't go past Freeze Lane, but
I just wonder if they have consideration to propose the same ordinance with the county and why that study didn't extend beyond Freeze Lane into the areas in which have known known accident areas.
I mean, that's certainly something that I can ascertain and find out if they did a speed study outside of the city limits. It wouldn't be something that we'd be privy to normally, but I can certainly ask.
Yeah, no, I'm all about making the roadways safer. I just think that there's prime areas in which could be of consideration beyond this area that have, in my recollection, a higher number of accidents. I'm only familiar with one area, and that's right there going into that Paradise, just because they're pulling trailers out. It's a difficult area right there.
Correct.
And I know that there's a lot of pedestrian walking on that pathway too, but, is there a way we can get the information?
Absolutely, I'll gather
Study.
that. I know TxDOT has done speed studies in the county. I know they recently, within the last year, made speed change. They actually increased the speed limit on the north side of 35
Yeah.
in the Fulton area, and then across the causeway as well. They came into the police department and spoke to us about it, and we had to tell them that's outside the city limits, and so they understood that, but they were making those speeds more consistent out that area because they were up and down, and what I understand is that they made that speed the same throughout there instead of changing it every few blocks.
Okay.
just a question for clarification. Outside of the city limits, does TxDOT set their speed limits or would the county set the speed limit? Who has the,
I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't know if it would be.
on the TxDOT roadway, obviously?
Yeah, I don't know if the county commissioners would have, or if TxDOT sends that to the county commissioners. I would assume that they do. I'm sure it's very similar to how they do it with the municipality, where they send their recommendation and then the council makes the decision.
That's all I have.
And this is the first of
First
two
of two
readings, and
readings,
so I can have that information by the 24th, which is
Yeah,
our
I'd
next meeting.
appreciate just more, I don't mind, entertaining it, I just would like specific data. And of the two reasons, you know, one being safety, two being, development, which one of these is the, priority, out of those two considerations for the change?
I think that's gonna be doing with the amount of driveway permits either they have currently approved or on the horizon. Driveway permits being new entrances into the highway. And I would assume that would be taking into their speed study as why they're wanting to lower it.
Ideally, TxDOT should make that a 4-lane roadway with a
Yeah.
turn lane, but
I mean, cause it gets crowded at the north of Freeze Lane, you know, outside of our city limits to 188 with the new developments that are going in there. That's the problem, or one of the problems. But
Okay. I have no more questions.
I just need a motion on the
I'll
table.
make a motion, to approve agenda item number 8. Is that what we're doing here? Or is it 9?
It's 8.
Okay. 8 as presented.
second,
Word 1,
Aye.
word 2,
Aye.
word 3,
aye.
word 4, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 9, consider the approval of resolution 2026-13R, appointing and reappointing members to the zoning board of adjustment, providing for terms of office and providing for an effective date. Shelley?
So the city is starting to get a lot more applications, and we had fallen behind on the appointments of zoning board of adjustments. And, now we have quite a few applications for that. These appointments look like that they are made by each council member and then a couple by the mayor. So we need to really get this board back in order, cleaned up. There are 4 people that, are serving right now that wish to be reappointed. And then there are 3 vacancies. I sent y'all a link to all the applications. I did not post them in the packet because some of the information is confidential. But I didn't know if you wanted to handle those interviews, but since they are individually appointed by, they're appointed by you, but voted by all the council, if you wanted to go ahead and make your own, or if you wanted to interview everybody all together.
I'm gonna let Councilman Brody, that's just your board, correct?
This one is mine, the Board of Adjustments. I'm good with if we y'all want to do it as a group, or if y'all don't mind me doing the interviews and making recommendations to the council for who. And I would like to say that keeping with what we have previously wanted to do is trying to have a member from each ward on these boards. I would take that into consideration, and try to continue that process of so we do have representation from the wards on our boards. But if y'all would like me to do that, I don't mind. And then bringing it back to y'all for a recommendation, or if y'all want to do it all together.
I don't mind him wanting to do the interviews. I think it's for time constraint, it would be easier to do it that way. I would like to recommend though, the people that are recommended that they actually show up to the council meeting where they're appointed. So if we do have any questions for them, or we can at least meet them, that would be important to me, I think.
Yes.
For that
And
clarity.
my only thing would be notification of application if it's pertinent to the ward. So like, I just want to know who within my ward is applying for the board. so that we, even if we're not present during the interview, we can at least review the application and be aware,
So,
so.
so in that link that I sent, had a breakdown of who each person was and what ward they live in. I actually do not have someone for Ward 1 though.
Yeah, I did not.
So,
Maybe,
but your Ward 1 representative that serves right now is interested in serving again.
that's what I was gonna comment
That's
on,
what
so.
So is, do we need a,
So you need the approval resolution, so, or, cause you just want direction, correct?
So if you want to appoint the 4 that are eligible to reappoint, or if you want to hold off on all of them, and we can bring this back, at a future meeting, unless Kimberly needs it sooner.
They can continue operating as they are.
Yeah.
But if you want to reappoint those 4, you can, or like you said, you can.
Need more time?
So if you want to appoint the ones you are, that are serving right now, you would have to amend the resolution to include their names.
in the charter, Kimberly, I think we talked about this at the last meeting, in the charter, there are some members that are termed out or will be terming out, is that correct? Was there a term limit on the boards?
So there was one member that was termed out, and that member was in position Ward 2, and that individual's name is not on your list.
So we're good on the term limits if
Correct.
we reappoint the,
Right now, we have no pending ZBA or BNS meetings in the next 2 weeks. I don't know what could come up at any moment. However, my concern is we need to make sure we have something in by the end of April, because April 30th, we do have a BNS Board Building and Standards
okay.
Commission.
Mayor Pro Tem, if we could postpone this one, and then let me do the interviews within the next week. Probably won't have it done by Tuesday, I don't believe, but maybe the first council meeting in April. For recommendations for us to move forward with.
You wanna make a motion?
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to postpone this resolution until the first council meeting in April.
I'll second.
Word 1,
Aye.
word 2,
Aye.
word 3,
Aye.
word 4, aye. You're postponing it to the first week of April. All right. We're going to agenda item number 10. Request for a Heritage District Certificate of Appropriateness application submitted by building owner Richard Neely for the business of Dog Pet Wants Tiki Bar to be located at 404 S Austin Street to add on to the existing building with a structure that includes garage doors with glass panels. We're gonna do presentation by staff, then the presentation by requester, and then I do have a speaker after that is done. We're gonna move that around just a little bit.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, thank you. The owner did come forward to us at the staff for expanding on the 404 South Austin Street, and we reviewed the Heritage District Certificate of Appropriateness. The staff sees no issues with the proposed structure. The only thing that was of a concern was that the Heritage District the overlay doesn't really mention kind of those, they look like glass garage doors. It doesn't mention it, so we can't say whether it would be appropriate or not. So therefore, it's coming before the board for that purpose. But the staff sees no concerns with this.
Thank you, Kim. We'll have the presentation by the requester who would like to speak on it.
Good evening. My name is Richard Neely. I was born and raised in the area. And 5 years ago, we retired our businesses and decided to make Rockport our home, which we always loved it down here. And we've been investing in properties on Austin Street, one of them being on Austin and Main. And we're wanting to build that property out a little bit and make a big patio. Now, we did bring photographs of the roll-up windows. They do work like a garage door, but they're very custom. They look very nice. I don't know if
Can you guys put those on the screen, please?
she has them there.
I know we had some in the packet.
There's some in the packet, yes.
So I'd also like to thank Ms. Henry and Ms. Cantu and Mr. Decker for all the work they put in on this project. So, we intend to use all local businesses for the plumbing and electrical and builder's first choice on all our materials. And so I guess that's the only issue that came up is about the windows. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. We just brought two. Now that's kind of like it. That's one of them right there, but it's not the best picture. That's more like it. They're 32 inches off the ground where they start. And they do roll up on the inside, fall in the roof. This way we can open it up and visitors can have the access to the outside, being able to look out, but also closed up. Now, where these are in use is Rudy's Barbecue all over the country has them. And they work really nice for them to open up their patio. Yeah, that's a good picture of them right there.
And this is going to be a tiki bar that's next to Pet Wants, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is what kind of feel are they wanting to have, the bar?
Mr. Andrew, right here,
If you would like to
Andrew
speak on it, yeah.
Masner and his wife, they have Pet Wants. And they want to put a little tiki bar in there just to have people where they can come in out of the weather, because there's really no place on Austin Street to get in out of the weather and still be exposed to the outside. So they'd serve drinks there, and it would be open, in the wintertime and the summertime, it'd be air conditioned and heated. And then in good weather, which we have a lot of, we can open that whole side of Main Street. Austin Street will have regular doors and windows in it. But the Main Street, there is 5 windows there. They're 10 foot long, 5 foot tall, and they open all the way up. But like I say, they're 32 inches off the ground, and we can have plants on those, underneath there. So that's what we're really looking at.
Okay.
And that's kind of a picture of it right there. And underneath it'll be hardy board, and then we have a sidewalk, but we also have a green area there. We can have plants in, just like the pictures that you see that's at Rudy's Barbecue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We do have a comment card. They would like to speak after presentation, which is over now. Would you like to come up here, Alan Copeland?
I go by Lee, by the way.
Lee, I apologize,
Okay,
Lee.
no problem. My name's Alan Lee Copeland. I am a property owner downtown. Since 2002, I worked with the mayor and the city, former city manager, developing the master plan, the Heritage District Zoning Overlay Ordinance. I served as the president of the Heritage District Association and served on every committee thereof, and actually served 2 years as the chairman of the Heritage District Zoning Overlay Ordinance that, and sorry to sound sour, that was destroyed by our previous city manager. The Heritage District Zoning Overlay Ordinance, which we work in concert with the ordinance writers, was designed for a committee of stakeholders to engage clients that want to do something downtown. And if you read the ordinance properly, it gives administrative duties to the board to work with these people to get them to a point where everybody's satisfied that what they're doing is good. And then we were to come to the city as an advisory committee and say, we like this. That way you all aren't involved in the process that's taking right now. You say, hey, the Heritage District Ordinance, the board is good with this. And as far as I know, after legal counsel, a city ordinance that's been codified is municipal law. And so I don't think when they squashed this ordinance because of a lawsuit they got into, whatever, and disbanded the board was the appropriate thing to do. Now, I've reviewed this gentleman's plans, and I want to tell you briefly, when we designed this, it was done based on urban development, inner city development. and how cities become walkable, how they have form-based development, how buildings associate with each other, setbacks, all those things were involved in creating this ordinance. And it's a suggestive ordinance. It doesn't mandate what you absolutely have to do, because architecture changes. And we need to support any business that's gonna come in and develop in our town. I mean, we need to do it. We need the tax base, they need the money to feed their families, the whole thing. It all works. So judging from the principles of form-based development, setbacks and all that stuff, and I reviewed the plans, I think it's a great idea. And I support them wholeheartedly. More importantly, I think we need to get this ordinance back functioning the way that it should. I've addressed this several times with Mr. Brundrett. Mr. Picarossi is well aware of, what's been going on and what's happened historically. So I just want to stand and say that I don't even think roll-up windows are a consideration here, because, I mean, look at the Art Center. There's nothing historical or architectural, for that matter, in my opinion, but it was allowed to happen. This is not going to impact anything. And we're not going to be able to create a continued historic district. We have to evolve with the architecture that evolves. And, I'm in full support of this. I'm also in support of maybe we can have a workshop someday, lay all this stuff back on the table, get the ordinance in the proper operating position that it was designed to do, that we spent $250,000 or $150,000 on the master plan, another $100,000 on the ordinance, and then there you are, here we are. Y'all are making a decision. These people should be, before they spend $3,000 on an engineer, $2,000 on architectural drawings and everything, should be able to come up with a conceptual plan, go to the board, work with the board, come to y'all and say, we're behind you. Or make the corrections that they need to make to sort of fit within the ordinance guidelines. There you go. I support this project. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go into consider the approval of the Heritage District Certificate of Appropriateness. Application submitted by Dog Pet Wants Tiki Bar to be located at 404 South Austin Street to add on to the existing building with a structure that includes garage doors with glass panels. I know we went over the presentation already, so I mean, any questions from council or anything? Comments?
Mayor Pro Tem, just a comment and or question that I would love for us to consider bringing back the Heritage District Board. We did spend a lot of money in doing that board and their overlay. And I think this could be one of those things where, as an advisory board, they do bring us, it's for a business owner down there, they get all their questions and answers done. And then they can bring us a favorable or non-favorable recommendation, much like our P&Z and some of our other boards in an advisory manner. Because what we have down there is kind of a special area for Rockport. And I know the history of what happened. And if we could just look at bringing that board back together.
I'd support that as well.
I know it's another board that we gotta deal with and put together and find people to join, but,
Just put you in charge, it's okay.
it's
You
Stephanie's.
heard it.
It's Stephanie's.
I think that's a great idea. I do agree with that as well. I think there was some setbacks with that board, as I remember, and definitely something that we can fix and move forward on in the future. Just going back to the actual approval here tonight, I do want to say my office is right across the street. They've done a great job cleaning it up in that corner, and a beautiful mural is on the wall there. I think it's going to be a great addition personally to that downtown area. So I just wanted to make that comment that I get to see it every day. So, and they've done a great job. So I will, if I have no other questions or comments, I'll take a motion to.
I was just reviewing the information we were provided, and I appreciate the letters of support. Additionally to that, you even covered, shutter systems that can be installed. That way, you have that protection against extreme weather, which is important right there. So I feel like you've been very thorough and consistent in your presentation and the materials that you provided, so I appreciate that. I'll make a motion to approve agenda item number 10 as presented.
Second.
Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4? Aye. Motion passes. We are now going to city manager's update. Mrs. Schroner.
just have a couple things tonight. We have a group of us going to Beeville Thursday evening for TML. So don't forget that on your calendar. And then our next workshop, budget workshop, is scheduled for Tuesday at 1 o'clock. We have Dan Jackson coming back to discuss water. I'm gonna try to get a couple of other people to come talk about the recent changes in the Corpus water situation. But I'm not sure I can on short notice, but that's what we're gonna try to do. And then we'll talk about your master plan and changes to hot taxes if we have time. From there, we'll go straight into our city council meeting. So I'll see you at 1, and Shelley made it at 1, so she didn't have to feed you. There you go, she said it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Lots happening the next couple weeks, so stay tuned. City council report, we're gonna go to Ward 1.
Not too much to report. I'm just happy to be back. I took a little bit of a hiatus and break after taking a pretty significant promotion and within my career. So I appreciate the understanding with that, and I'm just happy to be back.
Ward 2.
Well, it's glad to see Councilperson Rangel back, and I'm back on the road. I don't have anything to report for Ward 2. Thank you for allowing me to zoom in, everyone.
Ward 3.
Let's see, I was a presenter, speaker at TML mid-year conference. They didn't throw anything at me, so I guess I did okay. City Manager Vanessa was there with me, and she didn't throw anything at me, so that was good.
Great.
We do have an upcoming budget workshop, and then also next week we are going to do a workshop down. We're going to take a little road trip down to Alice to go look at their water plant, and water is a huge concern for everybody in town or South Texas right now. So we are trying to look outside of the box, inside the box, around the box, just trying to come up with solutions to our problems. So just know that we're not trying to operate in a vacuum. We are trying to find solutions to our problems for the city of Rockport. Oh, and I have a real talk on next Wednesday at 6:30 in Memorial Park. If anybody wants to come hear me talk, I'll be down there talking. And it'd be more of a Q&A type deal. So anybody kind of has questions and they want more of a one-on-one engagement, you don't feel comfortable coming to this, please come down there and voice your concerns or questions. I'll try to answer what I can.
Thank you. Just have a couple things. Me and Stephanie over here had the Oyster Fest parade. She brought her beautiful daughter with, and it was a great time, and we enjoyed every second of it. We love seeing the community and showing support for them. I think Oyster Fest did a great job, and I can't wait to see how well they did. Second one, I did get to speak in front of the city secretaries. They did a legislative session for them to, learn a little bit more about their job. And you guys did a great job presenting, you and Chief, Shelley and Chief. And I just want to say thank you for including me. And I think that's about it on my end. And otherwise, there's not going to be an executive session tonight, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.
I'd like to have it since you're welcome back that you're